What I'm going to show you in this video is the 5 YouTube ad settings that will ruin your business. That will absolutely just pour your money down a toilet and make sure that you don't get any results at all, or you get really poor results. So let me show you what all those things are. And by the way, in case you're wondering, I learned these all the hard way. I learned because I did them and it screwed up my performance. And then I figured it out after wasting a bunch of money. So hopefully I will save you a bunch of wasted money, as well as a bunch of wasted time, disappointment, and heartache. So let me go ahead and share my screen here. What I'm going to do actually is I'm going to create a new campaign from scratch, and I'm going to show you all the landmines along the way. So let's start a new campaign here. And by the way, I should back up a little bit. This is the Google Ads dashboard. This is like the campaigns tab on the home page. So if I want to create a new campaign, I go up to the top left, hit create. I'm going to create a campaign. First of all, we choose an objective. So this is actually the first landmine, is that you need to choose the right objective. So an objective is what are you telling the ad platform to optimize for? What is it that you want it to use as a criteria of success? This is really important because this is an algorithm-based ad platform, just like Facebook ads, just like Google ads. And what you want to do is make sure that you're telling it the right success metric, right? So if you say, for example, website traffic, then every time someone clicks on your ad and goes to your page, it's going to consider that a win. And it's going to try to get you visits to your page for as low a cost as it possibly can. Now compare that to if we optimize for sales. Well, if we optimize for sales, then the page visits don't actually matter. It's going to try to get us the lowest cost per sale, right? So we want to be very intentional about this, and we probably never want website traffic or awareness in consideration. So that's landmine number 1. Website traffic and awareness and consideration, those are just not going to do you any good. You're probably going to want either leads or sales. Now, sales seems like the more obvious choice. The problem is with sales, oftentimes, especially if you're selling something high ticket, is that you're not giving the algorithm a lot of data. If you only get, let's say, 5 sales a month, well, it's going to take you almost after a year, you will have 60 sales in the system. And 60 sales is just not very much data. And it took you an entire year to get that, right? Whereas if you're doing like a front end offer that costs $7 or something like that, and you get a whole bunch of sales, let's say you get 1,000 sales in a year. Well, then the sales objective is going to be more useful to you because there's more data. So if you sell something high ticket, which is generally what I do and most of my clients do, then you probably want to start by optimizing for leads. So we're going to start with leads here. And then we'll go ahead and continue. I would change some things here, but I'm just kind of pointing out the landmines. So I'm not going to walk through every single setting that I would recommend. Okay, so campaign type, we have 2 choices, demand gen or video. Video is kind of deprecated, and if you choose that, it's just going to point you to demand gen. So basically your only choice is demand gen. If you want to run YouTube ads, these other ones like search, this is for a Google search ad. It's the same dashboard, but it's a totally different type of ad. That's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about YouTube ads. Although, if you like, there's some of these are relevant to search as well, because they have their own kind of set of landmines for that. Anyway, so let's do demand gen. We'll hit continue, start a new ad, and then, well, here's a little bonus one I wasn't going to consider as one of the 5, but your campaign goal, it's set automatically to conversions, so you just leave that. That's fine. If you set it to clicks or you set it to YouTube engagements, then that's gonna not be good, essentially. So you want to set it to either conversions or conversion value. I'm not going to get into the difference between those. That's for another time. But conversion goals, okay, I'm not going to get into that here. Budget, I have to put in a budget. We'll say $5 a day just because it forces me to. And I'm skipping all of this stuff here. Okay, let's go to ad group 1. This is where most of your landmines are located, is in the ad group setting. So there's 3 levels of settings in YouTube ads. There's the campaign, there's an ad group, and then there's the ad. And under a campaign, you can have multiple ad groups. Under a ad group, you can have multiple ads. So locations, here's one landmine. If you put all countries and territories, then what's going to happen is, oh, and it's actually helpful on this. It actually recommends that you set more specific location targeting. So this is a mistake that I made the first time I ever ran ads on Facebook, is that I decided that, okay, well, I'm selling an internet product. It's an internet business. So theoretically, anybody anywhere in the world could buy from me. So I might as well just put my targeting to the entire world. Makes sense, right? The problem is, like we said before, the platform is optimizing. It's an algorithm that is optimizing for the lowest cost. Now, if you're optimizing for leads, like I just did in this example, your lowest cost leads are going to be, guess where? The lowest cost countries. So it's going to notice, and this is what happened to me, is that I ran to the entire world, but all of my ads were showing to Bangladesh. And I was confused because I said, I targeted the entire world. Why am I only getting leads from Bangladesh? Well, it's because the algorithm had figured out that I can get the lowest price leads in Bangladesh. So it was only showing my ad to Bangladesh. That's how the algorithms work. And that's Facebook ads, but YouTube ads are the same way. If you put all countries and territories, it's going to start showing all of your ads to the places where it gets the cheapest goal, whether that's, in this case, the cheapest leads. So these leads from Bangladesh were of no value to me. None of them ever spent a single penny or bought my product, right? So you definitely want to choose places where people are going to be able to afford your offer. And even within those, like, for example, United States and Canada is one of the options versus just United States. Well, I used to do United States and Canada and have pretty good results. These days, I'll just do United States because it seems like you get higher quality buyers in general from the US and Canada. It used to be that US and Canada were kind of equal, but now, like, the US is up here and Canada's down here. Probably because of their political situation. Like, Canada just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. And so people don't have money. And what that means is it's the same as Bangladesh. If I say US and Canada, it's going to show most of my ads in Canada because that's where the cheaper ad inventory is, because people don't want to advertise there. So that's the second landmine, is the location. Now, third landmine is here under channels. If you have all Google channels, this is going to be, well, I'll show you. I can choose, let me choose. All Google channels, by the way, is the default. So it wants to show your ads everywhere. It wants you to use all of their inventory. If I put let me choose, it shows you what specific inventory is showing on. So there's YouTube, which is what we're going for here. And then there's 3 different types of YouTube ads there. There's also Discover, Gmail, and Google Display Network. Discover is like on websites, you get it's like a box with an image that you can click on, kind of like a more typical banner ad almost. Gmail is an ad within your Gmail account. Like, you probably noticed those. If you have Gmail, you open up your email and there's it looks like an email, but actually it's an ad. And then Google Display Network are ads that are like on just random websites where Google does business with. So all of these, Discover, Gmail, and Google Display Network, are, first of all, are cheaper inventory because nobody wants them, which, again, the cheaper inventory often means that that's where the algorithm is going to send your ads, even though they don't perform as well. So I would choose, I always remove all of these. the Discover, the Gmail, and the Google Display Network. Now, Discover and Gmail aren't necessarily bad, but they're a very different context than your YouTube ads, right? Because with a YouTube ad, you have a video, they have to watch 5 seconds of it, and the video explains your product, like you get a little bit of explaining time. With a Google or a Gmail rather, or a Discover ad, you get very little explanation. You get that little tiny box, or you get a one-line like description on the email, and that's all you get. So the funnel that works with a video ad on YouTube is going to be very different than the funnel that works with either a Discover or a Gmail ad. And then the Google Display Network, I don't even know how that works. It's kind of a black box, but I've never gotten good results with it. So I always uncheck all 3 of these. Okay, so that's the third landmine. Fourth landmine is if I go into add an audience. So you got to put an audience, right? You want to say who you want your ads to show to. So I'm going to create a new audience. And I'm going to leave most of it blank. If you want to go deep into targeting, I got a video on my channel all about how to target your best prospects specifically. You're welcome to take a look at that. But what I want to show you here is at the very bottom, you have demographics. This is all demographics recommended. Again, this is a landmine that is recommended by Google. They want you to do the thing that's going to make you fail. So sometimes you got to defy them and not do what they want. Okay, so it's going to give you these demographics. It's gender and age. And then there's additional demographics, which it doesn't even want to show you up front. There's parental status and household income. The most important thing I want to show you here is this, household income. So look what it defaults to. Top 10% to lower 50%. And unknown. So this is, I want to show my ads to all income groups, including people whose income is unknown. Now, the income targeting is not perfect. It doesn't know 100% accurately what everybody's income is, but Google knows a lot about people, and judging by their behavior, it can figure out with a fairly decent degree of certainty whether, like, what kind of income category the person is in. So if you're selling something that is high ticket, let's say you sell something that's $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, are you going to want to sell it to people that are in the lower 50% of household income? Right? The lower 50% of household income is very little. Are those people going to be able to afford a $15K offer? Probably not. What happens here is that if, just like the Bangladesh example, if you just let it open to show to everybody, it's going to go for whoever is the lowest cost. Well, guess who is the lowest cost? The people that other advertisers do not want to advertise to, which, predictably enough, are the people who don't have money. So you really got to set this. If you have something high ticket, even if you don't have something high ticket, like even if your thing is just like $50, well, depending on what the thing is, but generally speaking, somebody that has a bit of an income is going to be more likely to buy your $50 thing than somebody who doesn't have an income. So I always recommend put top 10 to top 50% at least. At least get rid of the lower 50% because they ain't going to buy anything from you unless, again, it's something that's specifically targeted to poor people, which there are things. I mean, if you sell like Section 8 housing or something, or like healthcare marketplace, something or other, like something that the government pays for, but the people apply for, that's actually like the holy grail of online marketing is you find something that poor people choose, but some rich person or some rich institution like a government or an insurance company actually pays for, because there are a whole lot of poor people. Nobody else wants to advertise to them, so it's dirt cheap to advertise to them. And if they're not the ones paying, then it's really easy for them to spend other people's money, right? Which, if you're wondering why, like, the government tries to force company or like force how do I say this? Like Obamacare or Obama phone or Obama anything for that matter. It's the poor people get this thing for free, but it's not really free. It's just that the government is paying for it, but the company still gets the sale, right? So that's, if you're the company, that's really, really good for you. So that's why you see the corrupt governments doing that kind of thing all the time, because the corporations pay off the politicians, and the politicians say, oh, well, all the poor people should have a phone. So we're going to be so nice. We're going to take all your tax money. We're going to give it to the poor people so they can have a phone, when really it's just a big handout to the phone companies. And the phone companies were the ones behind it the whole time. Like, that's how it works. But anyway, before I get off in too much of a political rant, definitely keep out the lower 50%. And I also generally recommend you keep out unknown too, because unknown is going to be, I kind of go back and forth on this. These are people that Google doesn't really know what their income category is, but I've generally seen better performance if I uncheck unknown. Okay, so that's number 4. And I'm going to just discard this for now, which you're not going to do. But let me show you number 5, and this is perhaps the biggest one, or at least the most pernicious one, is this thing right here, optimized targeting. It says, this is the key phrase, Google may find people beyond your selected audience. What that means is, if you leave this checked, you're saying, okay, Google, you can just show the ad to whoever you want, even if it's not the person, like the type of people that I asked you to show it to. Even if if I just put the income from top 10% to top 50%, well, you can show it to the bottom 50% if you think it's better. You're essentially giving it permission to override everything that you just said in your targeting. And as you can imagine, again, this is an algorithm that is going for the cheapest possible result, the cheapest possible leads in our case. And so if you leave this setting on, it's going to optimize for the cheapest people. Who are the cheapest people? The poorest people, right? And so you're going to find that even if you excluded bottom 50% income in your audience settings here, if you leave this checked, nearly all of your ad spend is going to go to bottom 50% income. So you got to get rid of that. This is also useful even if you're not targeting by income, even if that's not the consideration. If you have audiences that you want, but there's also audiences that might be interested that you don't want, that's a whole other can of worms that I've got other videos on that. Like, just look for videos on how to get good leads instead of how to get crappy leads. But yeah, optimized targeting is just going to ruin your ad performance. And that's it. So if you go into our ad settings, actually, I'll give you another little bonus one here. So you want to put a video ad. I'm not going to go through all this. But there are this asset optimization here. You can do resize videos and you can do shorter videos. I haven't tested this, which is why I didn't consider it one of the 5. But my expectation is that these will also both tank your ad performance. As soon as they came out with this feature, I shut those both off in every single ad that I've ever done. Because, well, what's a resize video? It's going to take a resize video might not be that bad, but it doesn't show you what it looks like. So if you have let's say you have a normal horizontal YouTube video, if you resize it, it'll basically make a vertical version of it, like for YouTube Shorts. And I don't know how it's doing that. Like, if it's cutting off the sides, that's what I suspect it is. And if I have captions, then it's going to cut off the captions. The shorter videos, I'm significantly more wary of. The resize videos might be okay. The shorter videos, I suspect, is just going to ruin you, because what that is it's just taking pieces of your video and it's chopping out part of your video, and it thinks that you want a shorter video. So to me, that just doesn't make sense. It's like everything that I put in my video, I put there intentionally. So I'm not going to say 100% definitively because I haven't tested it, but I suspect that this will tank your performance as well. And of course, they give you the warning, turning off this video enhancement can limit your performance. I suspect it's the exact opposite as usual with their warnings. So that's it. If you would like to run YouTube ads and you like to use the most powerful ad platform that has ever existed to get clients into your business and just coming to you on autopilot, running in the background, that's what I do for my clients. I create the ads for them. I create the funnels for them if need be. If you would like my help with that, I'll put a link in the description where you can apply and book a call with me or a member of my team. And then if you found this video helpful, I'd highly recommend that you check out this video all about how to set the targeting so that you're reaching the absolute best prospects for your particular offer. This is really like the biggest reason why YouTube ads is the best thing going in advertising right now, is because YouTube is owned by Google, and Google knows just about everything about everybody, right? They know what you're searching for. They know what videos you're watching. They know what emails you're reading in your Gmail. They know what websites you're visiting in Chrome. They know what you're doing on your Android phone. They know what you're doing on any website that has Google Analytics installed, which is most of them. They know where you're driving if you use the Google Maps GPS. Right, so Google knows a lot about people, and it's very, very good at figuring out who are the people that are most likely to be interested in your offer. So if you'd like to learn the specifics of how to utilize that to your advantage, then check out the video over here, and I'll see you in the next one.